Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back in. This is another episode of Meng's Barbershop. Today's guest is Xiong, aka Xero. We're going to be talking a little bit about b-boying and his upbringing and things like that. So stay tuned. How you doing, Scott? All right, Xiong, come down. All right, my man, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, have a seat. Have a seat. You have a pretty interesting story. You are a Instagrammer. You do TikTok. You do YouTube algorithm and promotions, and you're also a b-boy.
Yes, I am. I've been dancing for quite some time now, about a good decade, since 8th grade. And the journey has been pretty great. And along with that, picking up some marketing stuff, social media, just trying to become an expert marketer aside from my hobbies of breaking and everything. It's always it's always pretty good to try out new things and combine those two hobbies of mine.
Who taught you? Who trained you? How did you get into it? And what keeps you going, right?
So that's actually pretty interesting because since ever since I started 8th grade, there was this after school program for the youth, and me and a bunch of buddies, we had nothing to do, so we were like, hey, why don't we start breaking? And then we met up with one of the old school crew from Sacramento. They're called Air Steps.
Air Steps?
Yeah, Air Steps.
Okay.
So some of their members were teaching during that time at the after school program, and then we got into the program, and then we started learning from them, and then there's a thing where we're like, hey, why don't we do a crew? And then we started forming this little group called Spiral Crew.
Spiral?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's one of those, when you start breaking, there's always a group of friends who start this smaller crew when you're still getting into this to the dancing itself. So
yeah,
we created Spiral Crew, and then from there, transitioning to different, as you grow up, and then everyone start breaking, and then you start getting into a more active crew, you could say, and then just branching out to meeting other b-boys and everything. But the best part that keeps me going during those times is that I fell in love with the culture itself. So understanding hip-hop itself, not just through dancing, but through the other elements, and being involved with the community itself and the culture, kind of makes you feel good. It's makes you feel happy every time I dancing or meeting new people. And even though sometimes our language don't really work with each other because we don't understand each other, or if they're from overseas and stuff, but our dance do the talking, and that's how we communicate. So it's actually pretty interesting.
Nice.
A lot of stuff that goes into it that a lot of people don't really know. But until you're really involved with the culture itself, and you're contributing in a sense to give back to the youth, it's it's really inspiring. So
one of your teachers was Impact and Venom from the Kinjaz.
It was actually our the teachers that taught me, actually, those were their teachers. So
Oh,
it was like passed down from a generation, I believe so. So
nice.
yeah, but it was, you know, I met the Twinjas,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually have a good buddy while growing up whose uncle were the Twinjas, so I got to meet them when I was a bit younger. So you know, they're all been inspiring like people to be around with, and especially coming from the same culture, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Having someone to look up to within your culture, I think it kind of brings that feel of you to, like, you know, if they could do it, you know, you could do it too. And I think it's something that we really need more people out there to inspire
Oh, for sure.
us.
I also think that like I met them a few times, and they are great people, and they're just so humble, right? Like
Yes.
I don't know why they don't have millions of followers yet, you know,
Yes.
because what they do is amazing. They're like being asked to dance at like the Dallas, half times. They're you know, on the World of Dance. They're like all this and all that, but they have. I think they're more blown up now than they were,
Yes.
but they should have millions, like because they're so talented, you know.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I believe everyone's time and everyone's you know, like moment comes at a different time. For some people, they kind of just like to keep their like profile low key too.
Mm.
I believe I know. I was talking to I forgot who it was a long time ago. He's like a really old school dancer,
Mm-hmm.
and he was also one of the other teachers that taught us beside air step when I first started. He's like really underground, kind of just keep his thing low key, and I think surprisingly he actually started with the Lore brothers, the kinjaz, the twinjas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the same crew when they first started in SAC. So I thought that was actually really interesting, and you know, I think some really like famous like dancers and stuff, they kind of just like to keep their stuff profile and keep their life within them. So
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah.
actually really interesting. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You know, like try to keep that private life as well.
yeah,
You know, having that balance is going to be really hard when people recognize you.
yes,
You know, my 15 minutes of fame when I was still doing boxing,
yes,
and people would recognize me and want to take pictures of me. Man, that was like so weird. You know, people would like stalk me and wait for me outside the bathroom, and oh shoot, man, this guy he gonna like beat me up, you know. So, but the big tough guys like, oh hey, are you Meng Lo? And then they would just want to take a picture, you know. It's like, oh
yeah.
shoot. Now even now I still got like a few OGs like recognize me and still asking me if I'm boxing and things like that. I was like, yo, that's like 15 years ago,
Yeah,
you know. But I guess you don't know what you do to make an impact on these people's lives.
yes,
You know, I have helped people start up their boxing careers. They hit me up and hit me for advice, and I send them things like punching bags and gloves to like, you know, kick their off, like kick them off, you know, the right way,
yes,
and just like little things like that, you know. But I definitely understand trying to keep a private life, you know.
yes.
So yeah. So what's one of the hardest moves that you learned that was like pretty hard for you to learn, or was everything pretty simple for you to just pick up?
Uh, Man, when it comes to dancing, especially breakdancing itself, it's a lot of like knowing how to control your body, because I feel like the dance itself, like, you know, kind of like defines gravity, you know. So kind of like
Because it's like momentum.
yes,
right?
momentum and a lot of control too comes along with it, and of course a lot of strength. But then you build that along the way of when you're, you know, learning things, and your body just builds its own natural strength.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardest move for me itself has always been like, because there's like 3 different categories, right? There's one where it's called up rocking, top rocking. You know, it's basically like you're dancing on, like you're standing, you're dancing, and then there's like down rocks or footworks, where you're on the bottom, you're like doing these crazy footworks. And then the one that everyone's usually really familiar with, or like really like, if you're not really in the b-boy scene or the breaking scene, is power moves, right? Like, you know, air flares, head spins, all those crazy moves.
Yeah.
Those are more like the crazy moves that everyone's really familiarized with.
Yeah, those are the more popular ones, right? Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, those are like the hardest move you can learn. Like power itself is always really hard. Because even for me, when I was starting, I started off with power, but I transitioned into footwork because I feel like footwork is more like something that will fit my style or like how I want to move as a dancer. So instead of doing all the crazy moves and all the really flashy stuff, I kind of like tend to figure stuff that works for how I want to be as a dancer. But power moves for sure, hands down, are like the hardest thing that any dancer will face.
Yeah.
Like air flare itself, you have to learn all the basic foundations of power moves. Like, don't get me wrong, there are basic moves for footworks and top rocks and stuff too, but power is for sure the hardest because it requires a lot of strength too as well.
I haven't really sat down and talked to anybody about breakdancing, right? And so like the terminology and how you say it and like the terms that you use, it's actually pretty cool, man. You know, because it's like, you know, because I always thought about it just like, because I'm really I'm a noob when it comes to you know, b-boy or anything like that, you know. So like never really thought about it as like a dance. You know what I mean? Like it's a sequence. You know what I mean? Like you just watch people do it, and you're like, "Yo, that's hella amazing, man." But you don't really think about like, okay, so they're probably putting it into a sequence, right? They're using this move to complement the other move. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, man, that's deep.
Yeah, yeah, that's very funny that you mentioned that because within the culture itself, when you're actually watching as like an audience and you're seeing all these people do like crazy moves, right? There's like terms where a lot of the dancers use like, you'd be like, damn, that's like dope, or like, you know, that's like sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like, and we have this hand gesture where we do when you see something you like.
Yeah.
And that's when you know you're doing pretty good out there. So it's like, oh damn, the crowd's feeling me. You know, you're just being yourself, having fun. I think that's like the best part of it.
Yeah. That's great. So, yeah. I totally forgot to ask. Did you want a beer, or you good?
Yeah. I'll take one actually.
Okay. Got this just for us.
Yes.
So all right. So you got Great White, you got Corona, or you got Heineken.
I want something that'll make me do head spins.
Great White it is. I would drink one with you, my friend.
Yeah, but there's so many things that coexist with breaking itself. Like outside of just breaking, you can interpret like so many other. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I should have been like Ipa. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it up here for you.
Thank you.
There's a whole other culture, you know, kind of like what comes to mind is kind of like a lowrider culture, right? Like there's just like the whole like language, is like like the way you dress, the way you know, like the way you vibe with people, like the whole culture itself, right?
Yeah.
So like b-boy to me is something like that, where it's a whole other like it's a whole culture in itself, you know?
Yeah.
So where do you find the time to with all your other stuff you're doing and being married, and like how do you find the time to practice still? And especially because you moved from a big city to a very small city.
Yeah. So finding time can be pretty hard depending on, you know, on what you do in your daily life too. But then as long as you have like a manage, you put in like at least an hour. I think that will work. I mean, just transitioning from a big city to a smaller city. I mean, it's at majority of the time just finding the space to practice. I think that's the hardest part because it's always hard to find spot. You know, I could go to the gym, but then like if the flooring is not right, I could do a certain move, but I can't do like all the other crazy stuff. You know, like spinning around.
Yeah.
I can't really spin around if the floor is too grippy. I mean, I could do footworks, but then, you know, what if I want to practice like sets? You know, like sets, like meaning that, you know, kind of like a choreo to like what I'm gonna do. So, you know, I think, you know, just managing your time, like at least giving in like an hour a day, fitting within, you know, your schedule always helps. But the hardest part is just, like I said, just finding the space and where you're gonna do it at. But if anything goes, there's always school, parks. Just gotta buy one of those dancing floors and
Yeah.
lay it out.
Cardboard.
Yeah, cardboard. If I have to.
No lie, when Bboy was like really big, we had a whole cardboard in our garage, and we were practicing flares, and then apple jacks, like all the easy stuff that we could probably do. Whew, now I'm just too buff. I can't even put my arms back far enough to do an apple jack.
Man, those were the days, though.
Yeah. I think everybody in the Hmong culture was like doing some kind of breakdance then.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I feel like during those times, like those early days when breaking was like getting popular within a lot of like high school and stuff. There was a lot of like Hmong breakers too as well, especially where I came from, in Sacramento. Man, every high school has like a breakdance team, and then it's always like really competitive.
And competing and challenging each other, yeah.
Yeah, and you have all these friends and like family from like other high schools, and you're like, hey, you know what? We should get together and like battle, battle it out, or I'll see you at the next tournament or the next competition that everyone's gonna be hosting. Like, you're good, but the next time I see you, I'm gonna do 2 times better. And I think that's how it gets everyone kind of like motivated.
Oh yeah. Like you did, when you have competition, or when you know that someone's gonna be like gonna do this or do that, you become better yourself.
Yes.
And so I'm just so happy that you're keeping up with it up here and finding the time and doing what you can to stay motivated. Because other than you, I really don't know anybody else that does like breakdancing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're a team of one, my friend.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. I do want to see, if I could do like outreach, because I do know there's like a lot of people who used to dance up here. It's always good to have it within the community, to give the kids something to do and learn about a culture. So it's always good to incorporate it, keep the kids out of trouble, and just keep them like actively doing something, having fun. And especially if we can help them to like get like a better understanding of like what you could do in life, and especially building confidence. The thing I love about breaking is that it helps a lot of kids build more confident, especially if they come from a background where they're like not as confident. Breaking itself helps them build that.
Oh yeah, man.
So
I mean,
I think it's
you have to be confident when you're dancing. You have to be confident when you're hitting those moves, or not only that, but like every time someone breaks, B-boys, right? It's like there's a crowd. You know what I mean? It's a circle of people watching you, right? And so you have to be confident. You have to learn how to do that. And the thing is that like everything's so digital now that I just don't think that this next generation is gonna understand.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think everything is evolving so fast, and there's many things where we could do actually still, especially with everything being so big on like social media. I think we could figure out platforms to like help kids stay like involved with the community of hip hop, like the culture of breaking itself within the element, and giving like this extra bonus stuff to kids who may want to learn how to dance, and trying to figure out what kind of dance they want to do. I think just giving them the opportunity really helps.
I think the hardest part is trying to make a living and then try to do that at the same time, right? So like the people that make it actually have full-on sponsors, I think, that really helps them carry them along. They pay for all the other stuff, and all they got to worry about is just breaking. So that's how they get so good. Normal people that just like it to do it on the side, I think that like we'll never get there because we don't have that, especially too because being Asian, being Hmong, our parents really didn't understand what we liked, right? Like if it's not school, if it's not academics, then we shouldn't do it,
Yes.
and
yes.
and so like me doing acting or me doing boxing or whatever, it was like taboo, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because even starting out myself as a breaker, a b-boy into like getting into the scene and the culture, understanding it myself, it was always like really hard because like from like you mentioned like from where our our people come from, we have no understanding of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually think that it's something that is like irrelevant because we should be doing other stuff like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
becoming a nurse, doctor, and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
then
it's all about
there's
that face, man. That face and fame, and
yeah.
like how can we make our parents like names look or sound better, and all that stuff. So
Yes, I agree. But then, after breaking for a long time and just staying consistent with it, I think they came to understanding that, hey, he's not, he's doing good. You don't have to worry. So I think it's like, just trusting the process of doing what you love, and as time goes, they will understand that you love it, and you're always gonna be sticking with it, and they won't really say much
hopefully,
once you're in it, because like now like I've been dancing for so long. They're like, it's fine. He's dancing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing anything bad.
He ain't no gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
he's like, yeah, I'm doing good. They know their kid. Like he's not a bad person.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
out there. And then even educating them about it
yeah.
really makes a difference because you let them know that it's not just about dancing. You're spreading all these positive energy. You're being involved with the community. You're getting back to the youth, and there's all these other good stuff that comes with it. So I think it really make them like really see that it's not something bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Asian parents, man, they
Yeah.
raise us with iron fists. My mom would just tell I hear other kids getting like the option to go outside and get like a branch or something to get whipped with, right?
Yeah.
My mom would just go and get an electrical cord and just freaking whip the shit out of us,
Man.
and so we learned quick, That's why I'm the best actor, man. Like gotta act like my bones were breaking the whole time.
Man, that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So like when everybody says, how'd you get into acting? I say, yeah, my mom whipped my butt. That's how I got into it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. It's rare to meet someone that still does b-boy here where we are. You know, and so you're one in a million, man. And I think that you should continue doing what you do, and just keep trucking along. You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers to that, brother.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It looks good.
Wow.
But you got that face that goes good with it too. So.
All right, I'm about to go bust some headspins
and
some halos.
Yeah. Just make sure you post it up so you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta do some crazy footworks.
All right, guys. This is the end of this video. Stay tuned and check us out later. Thanks.